Hello, everyone, and welcome to C-Suite Talks. We speak with industry leaders, introducing you to some of the most interesting people in businesses today. We focus on women, money, and power, as well as diversity in all areas. Welcome to C-Suite Talks. I'm Beth Hilbing, co-CEO of C-Suite, along with...
Hi, I'm Dianne Gubin, co-CEO, along with Beth. And this week, we are just so happy to speak with Sophia. Actually, it's Anna-Sophia Kristjansson. She is the founder and CEO of Lexicon Lens. Sophia helps organizations tackle complex transformations by aligning people, process, and stakeholder strategies. With 25 years of experience across leadership roles in marketing, HR, and strategic operations, she's guided companies through mergers, new product launches, and market expansions. Most recently, Sophia led the launch of a new function for a high growth pharma company, building the strategy from the ground up. Sophia also teaches graduate level strategy courses at the University of Denver. She is a contributing author for books, including The Secret Sauce for Leading Transformational Change. And she's spoken at SHRM, HR People Plus Strategy, and corporate leadership events. Welcome, Sophia. Thank you to our listeners. We're delighted to have you.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
And we should also mention that Sophia's on our CEO Executive Edge panel at our summit. So check that out, www.csuitesummit.org. And she's a member of C-Suite, so we love that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your career and how you got to owning your own company and what you're focused on?
Sure. So, as most journeys, this is not a straight line. And my experience starts in business and moves to HR, and then there's some consulting in between. My journey started in France, where I went to school and embedded myself in the culture for 6 years. And let me tell you, if you want to cure ego, go and live with people who do not give a hoot who you are until you can speak their language and and embed yourself in their culture. It was a magnificent experience, lots of work. When I returned back to the United States, I started working for French organizations, helping companies build strategies to enter the US market. And my career grew from there into brand management and advertising. I led the membership and marketing function for the French American Chamber of Commerce in New York City. And during that time, my son was born, and I realized that I wanted to change careers. I hired a boss, or my boss hired an executive coach for me to help me figure out the next step. And it was there that I learned that I wanted to become an executive coach and have that flexibility. Uh, I grew a business in HR consulting, which was always aimed at strategically aligning HR to the business. And then in 2020, I got the itch to go back in house and took on the role of founding the DEI function for a global pharma company going through massive disruptive change. And over the course of those 4 years, we built the function across the company and changed behavior to build a more inclusive culture. I also refreshed my understanding of what organizations really need when it comes to their service providers. And so in 2024, I launched Lexicon Lens, which is a boutique sized professional services firm. And I bring together my experience for the business and also from within HR. And we are focused on uh, building a strategic alliance between M&A, new business lines, new org design, new product line, et cetera, between people, process, and stakeholders for our clients. And we work across 4 pillars: strategy, advisory, innovation, and change management and learning and development. We're a team of 15 professionals with a passion for what we do with clients.
Awesome. That is just great.
That's a lot. You basically take companies from to right?
It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, and the more complex, the better.
Yes, for sure. So you've been building a career helping leaders bridge business strategy with people strategy. Can you walk us through the journey and how you come to focus on this space?
So I came to focus on it through uh, really the alignment between that juxtaposition between strategy and people. And I found that there was often a blind spot in terms of how we would uh, really move forward in organizations and create alignment and movement forward in a meaningful way. And so everything that I do is really based on that.
So the strategy versus the people. So which the strategy comes first and then the people, or vice versa? And where does it fail and how do you fix it?
Well, so that's a really good question. It's a multi-level question to answer. The people and the process and the profit all work together. And the business is, of course, all of that put together. But if you think about it as an equilateral triangle with people at the top, process at one side, and profit at the other, you want that triangle to be equally bound together, if you will. And so you need to be able to handle the business side and the people side in tandem with each other. You don't want one or the other to get out of alignment, or you're going to start having issues that affect profitability. So problems arise where we see issues around meeting deadlines, problem solving, uh, delivery deadlines. And if we don't address how people are working within that, we won't arrive to the solution that we want. And people are always involved.
For sure. Beth is an expert in that.
Exactly.
Right.
So, oh, go ahead, Diane. You can ask the next question.
But
Sorry.
you know what? You talk about a strategy activation gap, which
Mm-hmm.
actually I think fits right in here where you're talking about, the people, the process, the profits. So what is a strategy activation gap?
Yeah. So I'm glad you asked that question because I think that's where we're focused right now in the world. You know that AI adoption is taking off at 75% of organizations adopting AI in 2024. I bet that's going to be 100% in 2025. And we also know that employee engagement worldwide is at 23%. Will it be lower in 2025? Yeah, it'll probably be lower by the end of the year. And this gap is, as it relates to strategy, is quite simple from my perspective. Leaders strongly lean into changing process, and they're doing so rightly right now, right? Like technology is forcing organizational leaders to address the relevance of their organization. And that's a big deal. However, people are being lost in this change. We're not protecting organizational innovation or building the right structures to enhance collaboration. And so if you think about people, process, and profit in the three corners of that triangle, we are way too strong on one end and kind of discombobulated. We're trying to, figure out how to build our profits, but our people are not coming along with that. And really, this is a new age. We need new ways of working that build collaboration and working together in the workplace.
Exactly. You talked about the strategy activation gap.
Mm-hmm.
For someone listening and wrestling with execution challenges, which we all do at some point in time as an executive and a leader, what does that gap look like in real life, and how do they get over that anxiety around putting that together?
Yeah.
Or
So say that again, Diane.
anxiety. That is the word Beth said.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. So collaboration and innovation are not just a nice to have from my perspective. They are part of the DNA of your organization. And they need to be hard skills, not soft skills for employees. So to bring this to life, we recently worked for a mid-sized manufacturing firm with several issues going on. And, one of the issues was that they were missing delivery dates. They were also facing rising rework costs, and leadership could not agree on the problem. No matter what they did, they were not getting to where they wanted to be. There were a lot of ego involved and not a lot of listening. And so when we went into the organization to assess the problem, of course, it was a multi-phased approach, a multi-level approach during this discovery phase. And we asked people their experience of what was going on. One floor manager said, "Why should I say anything? I'll just be ignored." And another employee said, "I am so frustrated with the way that things are going at this point. So what am I going to do? Nothing." And so
Wow.
just in this little piece that I'm showing you of this massive problem in this organization, you can see that the problem that was part of the process of the business really did involve the people. The people were at the core of it. And so this is a dangerous situation for any organization to be in. We immediately started shifting this, what I called the why bother narrative, and launched what we called cross-functional solution forums twice a week to deal with delivery problems that the company was facing. And there were rules to this. And these rules, everybody had to agree to forever. There will be no blame, no lengthy presentations with leaders coming in and telling people what to do. Present your blocker, and we discuss together the opportunities. And from there, we were able to loosen the issues up and get people to talk about it and solve them. And what we noticed was an exhilaration within the population of employees, where they started to trust that not only could they talk about the issues that they were facing, but that they were going to be resolved. So within 3 months, we saw an 85% of the problems solved in meetings. And what I find most important here is that 15%, the remaining 15%, went to the right people to be handled, or they were put in a parking lot to address later. And as a result, the delivery time cycle decreased 20% in 3 months, which is absolutely astonishing. So this is how you take collaboration and you support it through the right actions, and listen to the people that you've hired to work in your organization, who are the really parts of that muscle of collaboration that you need to see activated across the company. It is not a one and done. It means total acceptance from everybody in the organization to do it, and to embed this into workflow and into culture. And that's when you start to see an increase in real.
So really,
That's amazing.
You're really saying you had to care, right?
I
So
am.
if somebody owns caring about the team and the employees, then you're really saying that everything starts aligning.
I am saying that, and I'm also saying that it's not people or process, either or. It is together. And one of the things that I noticed, having sat in HR and consulted in that space for a number of years, is that oftentimes HR folks aren't exactly sure about how to talk about what needs to be done for the people in terms of what's going on with the real business issues in the business. And it's in that understanding and the listening and the languaging that you find the right balance between the two. But from my perspective, every solution in the organization needs to be driven by the real issues that leaders driving the business are talking about and experiencing, and nothing else. Really, nothing else matters.
Yeah, that's a real shift, I think, as an executive, and then also to get them to understand the vision, the mission, and where you need to be. I mean, with me, I know when I was at Northrop, I could see the beginning and I clearly saw the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of folks had to have all the steps in the middle and they didn't really see the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's taking them on that journey so that they go there with you and to walk that through. And collaboration and innovation, people throw those around all the time. And how can you share a story that kind of illustrates that? Because I know people say collaboration all the time. And I don't know that they know what that really means.
No.
Yeah, it's a good buzzword, right? It's a feel-good word.
It is a feel-good word. Yes, leaders talk about collaboration and don't really know exactly how they're going to do it and what stands in their way. And I'll just share an example of what one executive said to me while I was in house. She said, um, our collaboration scores are not as high as we want them to be in the organization. Uh, but I think we just need to, have more meetings together. And I said to her, well, what is collaboration to you? And she said, well, I believe that it is, just working together where it makes sense. And I said, well, do you feel like you know how to collaborate? And she said, Sophia, that's not the right question. Frankly, if we're people managers, we should know how to collaborate. It should be our bread and butter. And I said, and yet we don't. So in this particular organization, the danger was making the assumption that we should know what to do when we really didn't. And nobody wanted to step up and say, yeah, the collaboration scores are low, but look at our engagement across the organization. We really don't need to worry about this. Whereas I say, now wait a minute, your engagement is reported as being high. However, your collaboration is not where you want it to be. And this is a danger sign in your organization. You need to be paying attention to this collaboration number. And just with what this one leader said, it gives you an indication as to whether or not people truly are open to figuring out how to resolve this problem. So collaboration is a combination between the right communication, the right processes, and technology to support us in how we work. We work in a mobile world now, so we should be able to use all of the technology that our organizations provide us to be in the service of collaboration. And if we do that, then we are going to see innovation skyrocket in our organizations because people will even increase their engagement more. So can't be ignored.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. That was so well said. Um, uh, Tell us about your auntie Nancy. You have a book coming.
No.
She found lessons from special somebodies. Great title. Let's do that again. Lives lost and leadership found. Lessons from special somebodies. Tell us about your auntie Nancy.
Well, thank you for asking about Auntie Nancy. So Auntie Nancy was one of the most important people in my life, and she taught me about the importance of making decisions through purpose, passion, and values. And she told me, when I was young, decisions are going to be overwhelming and they're going to be hard at some times. But when you ground them in your values, you're going to make better choices and you're going to be able to stand behind them with confidence. And just like everybody, of course, I had to learn that the hard way, right? But her advice was simple and profound. Know your purpose. So what I've taken that to be, how do I want to leave the world better than how I found it? Live with passion. So what I do in the world and how I work in the world matters. And anchor yourself in your values. Those are the unshakable principles that I have been taught and that I make my decisions through. She wanted me to remain true to those values that I had been taught and to use them as a compass. And so, yes, I wrote about her in an article as part of the book, Lives Lost and Leadership Found, Lessons Learned by Special Somebodies, which was written by Ian Ziskanen, who is a mentor of mine. So fast forward to today, her voice is with me all the time as I make decisions for my business and for the people that are in my organization and for our clients. We face collectively difficult decisions every day. And so those are going to affect the people that work with us. And we need to be mindful of that. So that is the story of my Auntie Nancy. She's no longer with us. And I'm very sorry about that, but I carry with her the those lessons every day.
And that's awesome.
We have
I
so
think as
yes. Go on, Beth.
yeah, I was just going to say, as we close today, I think this is one of the key questions that I wanted to ask you. And as we think of the future with executive leadership and with the AI enablement and the constantly changing political and other environments, what do you think is the mindset that most leaders need to be thinking of? Or
Very
Mm.
question.
So, of course, I don't have a crystal ball, and we're in the midst of change. We don't know where it's going to go, right?
as
But
fast as
I
possible?
believe it is
Yeah.
important, more, and we make decisions from there. We need one another to accomplish work. We are social beings. AI could grow to become a very important tool that will enhance our decision making, but we still need our brains. We need to solve problems and analyze and create, and we need to work with one another and to collaborate. Innovation is a driving force of human beings. We've been doing it for the millennia, and our businesses reflect that. And the invention of AI reflects that. So it is a very confusing time, and we are seeing uh, so much instability, experiencing instability at a deep level. And so I believe that when all of this shakes out, humans are going to be asked to be more human, to
Oh,
exercise actually more emotional intelligence and intellectual know-how. And I'll say on the academic side, I am noticing that AI is changing the way that people are learning, and academia is struggling to figure out how to integrate it into learning. But students are forcing us to do that. And I value the push. And I also want to say there is wisdom in learning how to use your mind to exercise the best decision making that you possibly can. And remember that AI is not perfect. I talked about that example earlier of that organization, the manufacturing organization. They are experimenting with AI now in their decision making process, and that has caused a bit of upheaval for them. Nothing is perfect, but we need to remain mindful of one another as we go through this process of change.
So beautiful. So thank you. Sophia Kristjansson, founder and CEO of Lexicon Lens. How does somebody get in touch with you?
Sure. So go to lexiconlens.com where you can connect with us via email or LinkedIn. We do host private monthly virtual conversations with people, leaders who want an intimate setting to talk through and problem solve their strategic issues. This fall, we're addressing issues related to strategy implementation as people finish out 2025 and go into 2026. Topics and dates are posted there. Register with the link.
Terrific.
awesome.
And who's the right person to take advantage of that? Is it someone in the
People, leaders of any kind who are
Okay,
involved in that strategic conversation. Yeah.
terrific. So thank you again, Sophia. Thank you to our listeners. We appreciate you so much. And of course, thank you to our sponsors. Beth, do you want to thank our sponsors or do you want me to?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, thank you so much to our sponsors. First of all, Cohn Resnick Advisory Assurance and Tax Services, City National Bank, Cigna Healthcare, Breakthrough Beverage, Uncle Nearest, who is actually hosting our summit coming up in September. Please come. And C-Suite Executive Search. If you're hiring for your team, please do give us a call. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. And find us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your recordings and your podcasts. And please, if you have any questions, reach out to me, Beth at csweet.org. And thank you for listening today. And thank you, Sophia, for being part of our world.
Thank you.